Men and women around the world are suffering unnecessarily as a result of the terrifying herpes stigma that ruins sex lives and crushes romantic dreams. But it wasn't always like this. Now, when you think of herpes, it's easy to think about the stigma that comes along with it. Shame, hiding, avoidance, these are all seen as natural responses to your herpes diagnosis. But today, I'm going to share with you the real story behind herpes and how a common virus that over 50% of the population carries became painted as sexual leprosy and the scarlet letter that would prevent you from ever having sex again. Did you know that the herpes virus was millions of years old and that the term for the virus actually was coined by the ancient Greeks? While it's surprising to hear about its age, it's even more surprising to hear that herpes has only been something to fear within the last 30 years. Before the 1980s, herpes was largely ignored. Doctors knew cold sores were incredibly common and treated the genital ones just like they would any other. For anyone alive today, it's hard to imagine a world where herpes wasn't something to be feared and to run away from. But this is the surprising reality that our grandparents had. Hi, I'm Steph, and I'm the sex educator that you wish that you had when you were in school. And today, we're going to be covering the herpes stigma and revealing some things that are really going to shock you. If you have herpes, then you understand what it's like to feel like your life is over. You're asking yourself questions like, what if nobody ever loves me again? Should I stay with the person who gave it to me? And is this the end of my sex life? These kind of questions circle in your head day and night, and don't even get me started on the 2 a.m. Google searches. And it really feels like one of the most, if not the most important parts of your life has just been snatched from you by a condition that you didn't ask for and has you asking, why me? Many people at this point give up, spiral, and resign themselves to the idea that they're damaged goods. I know that's what I did for about 7 years. But is that feeling justified, and where did it even come from? It's so important to understand that the stigma around herpes is a very recent thing. Although herpes has been with us for millions of years, the stigma has not. It's not your fault that you feel bad after you receive your herpes diagnosis. That's because in the 1980s, a drug called acyclovir, which you're probably already familiar with, was discovered to treat herpes. However, at that time, the disease wasn't seen as important enough to be treated, and so demand was low. In combination with the conservative backlash to the sexual revolution that we saw in the 70s, a mass media campaign was funded to promote the importance of medicating drugs for herpes and the massive danger that it posed to the population. These programs focused on building stigma, fear, and paranoia around herpes through the media. A very intentionally coordinated campaign released multiple prominent hit pieces on herpes, which popularized an ancient human afterthought into a mainstream massive sexual threat. Here are some examples. Herpes as the cover for Times Magazine, today's Scarlet Letter. The article claimed that it was altering sexual rights in America, changing courtship patterns, sending thousands of sufferers into months of depression and self-exile, and delivering a numbing blow to the one-night stand. Again, the Times in 1980, herpes, the new sexual leprosy. Another one being the curse of the promiscuous and the new sexual plague. Always seeking new profit angles, the pharmaceutical industry needed a way to open up markets. They decided to recategorize herpes as a dangerous disease that needed to be avoided at all costs. These companies even sponsored support groups to advise all the new sufferers about the benefits of their drugs. This campaign was incredibly effective at spreading shame, fear, and guilt around herpes stigma throughout the general population. And it's the exact reason that you're dealing with so much stigma around it right now. The fear around the incurability of this disease was especially strong, but you may not realize that. Chickenpox, mono, the common cold, hay fever, measles, these all also remain in the body for a lifetime. This is one of the many arms of a system that wants you to feel bad, wants you to have low self-esteem, and most importantly, wants you to feel ugly and undesirable. It has many products and services that it can sell you to fill these exact voids. In fact, the whole beauty industry runs on this exact stigma. The worse you feel about yourself, the more that you spend on skin products, beauty services, surgeries, and many other interventions that will pull you towards the social norm. The worse you feel about yourself, the more of an asset you become to these companies that monetize off your misery. If you're ready to stop playing victim to these drug companies, then keep listening, because what I'm going to share next will change the way that you think about herpes forever. Herpes doesn't define who you are. It doesn't damage your self-worth. It doesn't make you less attractive, less sexy, or less desirable. It only does those things if you let it. The most important step that you can take if you've also got the herpes is destigmatization. The ultimate irony around all of this is that the fear-mongering and stigma around herpes actually bring it into existence. If you're scared of herpes, if you're ashamed of herpes, if you feel like nobody will ever love you again, then you will be so much more stressed. And we all know that stress causes flare-ups. It makes herpes even worse. On top of that, feeling ashamed and scared of herpes makes it even harder to disclose, and more likely for you to be rejected if you do. Because who finds low self-worth attractive? And do you even want a partner that would find low self-worth attractive? That means that you're likely to just go through with it anyways, without having the conversation and just creating a problem for yourself down the line. There are two types of people that have herpes. The people who let it ruin their sex and dating lives, take it on as personal shame and buy into the stigma, the marketing, the messages that society wants you to take on. And then there's the people that decide to be bigger than the story that society wants us to believe about herpes. It's more than possible to overcome the stigma that herpes comes with. And many people have successfully done just that. The first thing you can do is learn how to neutralize the stigma. We can do this by learning how to set the frame, how to set the context through which herpes is talked about in your relationships. If you don't know how to set the frame around herpes, then you're letting the fear-mongering media do it for you and taking the biggest risk. The main thing that they never teach you about herpes is how to communicate about it in a way that feels natural and free. And it all starts with transforming how you think and feel about yourself as someone with herpes. I understand it can be difficult for you to break out of the stories that have literally been designed for you to feel undesirable. And that's exactly why I created your Bestie's Guide to Herpes, which teaches you exactly how you can drop the shame and the guilt and feel like your old self again. Because the you that was there before herpes hasn't been lost. They've just been suppressed because you don't feel safe enough to let them out. But when you learn more about herpes, you learn how to manage it, you learn how to work with it, how to be in relationship with it, and realize that it's not a death sentence over your sex life. It's amazing the waves of forgotten freedom and excitement that washes over you. Realizing that with proper outbreak management techniques, you can enjoy just as vital and intimate sexual experiences as before is so relieving and empowering because it reconnects you with the part of yourself that doesn't feel like damaged goods and allows you to start living your best life again. In fact, in my experience, it's even better than before. Herpes gives you the opportunity to get really clear and intentional about what you want in a partner and confidently say no to people who just simply don't fit your needs. Your Bestie's Guide will put you in the position to be the one who's either accepting or rejecting the other person based on whether they can meet your needs for flexibility, openness, and understanding. If you want to learn how to think and speak about herpes in a way that feels so natural, so free, and so authentic, if you want to let go of all the shame, the guilt, and the fear around disclosing, and the worrying that you'll be rejected, if you want to learn how to step back in your power regardless of having herpes and still love yourself nevertheless, then my Bestie's Guide for Herpes was made specifically for you. I've removed all the shame, all the stigma, and all the fear-mongering that you hear about herpes and how to talk about it, and I'll give you the care and support that your bestie would. Just click the link in the description to grab it, and you can continue with a normal life that you never thought was ahead of you.